today I want to talk about what is the top fleet management metrics to look at in this new year, 2025. And in no random order, I just want to talk about each one of them and see and explain a little bit more about those different KPIs or metrics that you guys should be looking at in any fleet. My first one, of course, is the asset availability. So your asset availability, which to me is the most important piece, because you need to be able to provide these vehicles and equipment back to your customers as often as possible to meet their operational needs. But first, you need to manage and understand what the operational time, days of the weeks, that each of the different customers need those vehicles. Once you find and understand what those operational timeframes are, then you can manage how much time you provide those assets back to them so they can use them. Of course, you're also going to notice that there's several other KPIs or other metrics that follow along with the asset availability, such as downtime, whether it's a shop downtime or if it's customer downtime. They all kind of go hand in hand. So there's a couple goals that you want to shoot for. I obviously also mentioned that you should shoot for 100% asset availability, but we know that's not realistic. So a more realistic number is about 95% asset availability back to your customers, and that's very doable. The second one is your shop turnaround time. The shop turnaround time is very important because that is a key indicator for your shop operations. And it's going to touch on many different aspects of how you operate your fleet operations, all the way down from the number of technicians, the size of the shop, how much outsourcing do you need to do based on what your size of the shop is and how much workload that you have. If you have a shop operations where you can take and run this shop operations after hours, that's the ideal situation so that you have no downtime to the assets or your customers. So you need to look at that whenever you build and set this up. You should also incorporate all this into your business agreement back to your customers. So if you have a standard service level agreement with your customers, you can build that into it as well. The next idea is your asset utilization. So asset utilization is also a very key role that you guys should be looking at. You should manage that, measure it, monitor that, and also share that with the rest of the team. So you want to be able to take and look at each of the different types of assets, as well as the asset application that asset is actually working for. Whether you have the same type of sedans, but they got different applications, utilization is going to be different. Even within motor pool. So if you're going to have a motor pool, you need to be able to equalize that utilization, be able to pinpoint which assets are being underutilized versus overutilized, and then be able to move those within your fleet to equalize that utilization. The next one is your predictive maintenance. And this is a new one that we see hot and heavy within the last couple of years. Being able to take and predict what's going to happen. So if you have some good telematics information that you can pull into your fleet information system, bring that data in, look at the problems before they become problems. So now being able to bring in those insights, see what's going on, find out what those triggers are, and add them into your system so you can at least check it out. If it comes up as a false positive, it's okay. At least you're being proactive and looking for these issues before they become a problem. The last one is your total cost of ownership. You want to be able to know what your total costs are from the time that you purchase the unit, any kind of capital cost, operational cost, take all of the different costs that you have associated with that asset and be able to put a number on that. And then you can measure the total cost of ownership for each and every asset within that class of assets. You're looking for any of those assets that's going to be your outliers. Which ones do I need to replace because the total cost of ownership is extended? You've got too much cost of ownership, and you can separate those out and be able to pick and choose which assets you need to replace sooner rather than later. So you're also going to see that all 5 of these different main metrics to measure within 2025, they are all tied together somehow, and they're also going to be touched on other different metrics within the fleet operations. So each one of these are going to be intertwined within each other, and they're also going to spark many other kind of KPIs that you can track within your fleet, such as your MRUs, VEUs, and what have you. So those are my top 5 KPIs or metrics to be watching out for in the year 2025.